Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 420. Here we go, zooming in on episode 420 of the All Dolphins podcast
Pretty
on
fake
this.
right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Somebody's being himself, and that somebody is the original co-host of the All Dolphins podcast who deserted, defected, and now is writing for the Miami Herald. Of course, you know him, Omar Kelly. How are you, Omar?
I'm good, man. How are you? Happy holidays to you. I hope your Turkey Day. You're Canadian. You probably say screw this American holiday.
Yeah, except I've lived here for a very, very long time. My wife is American. Both of my children were born in Miami. So, no, it's not. And I don't even celebrate the Canadian Thanksgiving, which is on a Monday in October. I couldn't even tell you which day was. I think it might have been
You're an
October.
unloyal Canadian.
Well, that's why that's part of the reason I wear the hat. So,
Okay.
okay. And what was that you were doing? You're checking out your beard.
Yeah,
There you
checking
go.
out my. I know it's not as glorious as your beard, but I got to do some work. I got to moisturize a little bit more. It's kind of dry.
Yeah, but you're starting to get some gray hairs too. Just wait, it'll keep. Am I lying? Sorry. Oops. Did I cross a line here? Click.
Yeah, you outed me in my grays. Yes, stress will do that to you.
Children will do that. I'm just kidding. I play. It gives you a more mature air, Omar. You should embrace it.
That's true.
Okay. What we should not embrace, and what we're going to get to and dive into, is this Miami Dolphin performance against the Green Bay Packers, which, as Yogi Berra might say, was deja vu all over again. It was against a good team, and I'm going to take a massive L here and fess up. I was stupid enough to actually believe, you know what? I think maybe this is the year they're different. I mean, Tua's playing great and all that. Understanding that it was against bad competition, but still there's just something looks different. No, same old Dolphins.
You know what's interesting, and I would acknowledge to you that it looks different, but the end results are. I mean, their offense is like 19th. It's not good. It looks different, but it's not better. And I'm like, if you had to choose whether you would want last year's offense or this year's offense, you probably pick last year's offense. I mean, they were better offensively, better big play production, better running game. And this year is just like, it's okay. And I will say that there's a growth and an elevation to Tua's game, but there isn't a growth and elevation to the offensive production. And this isn't just without Tua. No, this is with Tua. It doesn't look the same. Doesn't have the same punch. Doesn't have the same bite.
Yeah, and again, but with Tua, and it's the same that the competition, right? And here's the thing. I hate to use this term because it's going to get me in a whole lot of trouble. But Tua is like a master orchestrator when things are going well. Mm-hmm. When the receivers can get into their routes quickly, he can take the snap, and he can find somebody open quick. He is very, very, very good at getting things done when the circumstances are great around them. They play good teams, and that no longer happens either because the coverage is too good or they get too physical at the line of scrimmage, and then all of a sudden, whoops, it doesn't look the same, and Tua doesn't look like the same guy.
See, I hate that we make this about Tua because I will not argue any of those points, but let's have an elevated conversation about why they lost that game.
Why start now? Why should we have an elevated conversation? We've never had one before.
Because everything always comes back to Tua, and I'm not.
I'm joking.
No. I'm not excusing him for his performance because, as I've said to you, going back to last year, I'm still waiting. We're now 5 years in, and I'm still waiting for the quarterback that I expect to elevate himself and elevate his team against tough competition. And maybe if they had punched it in at that goal line where they had 3 opportunities to get it in from the 1 yard line, maybe it would be a different game. And maybe I would have had that situation that I was hoping for, but we didn't. But the problem is we didn't because I think that they consistently get beat at the line of scrimmage on offense and on defense. And that's a fundamental issue. That's a fundamental issue that's not going anywhere. Tua was sacked 5 times. He was constantly harassed in that game. They had no rushing attack. They had no pressure on Jordan Love. They could not stop the run. Those 5 are fundamental else that lead to losses.
Yeah.
And none of them have anything to do with Tua. But, we're going to sit here and we're going to say, oh, Tua can't beat tough opponents. No, the Dolphins wilt in tough games in the cold against playoff caliber teams on the road. That's and that's a consistent thing.
But Tua's a big part of this team. It's almost like the Dolphins didn't lose because of Tua, but to absolve him of any blame to me is ridiculous.
Oh, I'm not absolving him.
I'll give you an example. The 4th down sack. Why don't you, instead of taking a sack, which ends basically the drive in the game, throw it to Durham Smythe, who was one-on-one on a linebacker. He was very well covered. Probably going to be a pick anyway, but at least give yourself a chance of a DPI.
Yeah, I mean, he was evading. He was trying to navigate the pocket to find a passing lane after Durham Smythe, his number one option, fell down. The play was designed for
Ingold. It was Ingold.
I'm sorry, Ingold. The play was designed for Ingold. Ingold fell down. He had to adjust. Mike McDaniel took ownership for, okay, that was a bad play. And I thought the Jonnu Smith play, I literally just wrote a column about that whole series and how it crystallizes what is wrong with this team. Just, you're not going to give me some hearts?
No, that means they easily could have gotten a DPI call, if we're going to be honest about it.
Oh, which one are you talking about? On the Jonnu Smith?
Jonnu Smith play. Look at the replay very carefully. The contact is slightly before the ball gets there. Again, you can't count on it, but I've seen a lot less egregious play by a DB get flagged. So,
you're on the road.
Correct. And they weren't calling DPI because
that would have made it a more entertaining game. So I think the refs should have called it. Now that you're saying that,
but they weren't calling it because the last Green Bay play of the game, that long pass where Saran Neal clearly was mugging the guy basically before the ball got there, then they swallowed that flag too. So anyway,
yeah. To me, do you know that they have averaged 2.9 yards per carry the last 4 games, which incidentally coincide with the loss of Austin Jackson? And I'm a Kendall Lamb fan.
Yes, you are.
But I cannot ignore the fact that your outside zone don't exist no more. I can't ignore the fact that you have just been gobbled up in the run game, despite having healthy 26, 24, 22 attempts. You're in, and yes, some of these are victories, and you want to excuse it as some of our pass plays are like run plays, but it's just not the same. And I don't think this team goes anywhere without a run game. No, nowhere. Not even a winning season. And so the question is, can it return? And I don't see any reason why it can. I don't see. I just don't. Unless Isaiah Wynn's gonna, put on a cape and come into the starting lineup and begin to start mowing people down, or Teron Armstead's going to go get stem cell treatment in the Bahamas during this break, I don't see your run game coming back.
And even Isaiah Wynn, because to me, I look at the two guys who appear to me to be the two biggest issues on the offensive line right now are Kendall Lamb, unfortunately, who I also like very much. But Kendall Lamb's the one who was beaten by the guy who made the tackle, Rashawn Gary, on the 2nd and goal from the 1, where Achane had a pass to the end zone, and Rashawn Gary completely beat Lamb's block and made the tackle. And then the other guy is Liam Eichenberg, who is sorry.
I'm more of an issue with Rob. I don't know.
Yes, it was rough. And more importantly than the numbers, again, we discussed this last year when they were putting up good numbers in the running game, is can you run when you need to run? 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. I'm sorry if it's a good. I hate this is going to be a slap to the Dolphins, but if this is a good franchise or whatever, hell, it's 3 straight running plays, and it's going to get in there. Like KC, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Green Bay. What do they do on 3rd down? 3rd and 4th down has to be a pass because you don't trust your running game.
I also wonder, and I've been meaning to ask this, why the hell don't you use an overloaded offensive line? Why the hell don't you use a sixth offensive lineman? Why the hell doesn't Patrick Paul enter the game playing right next to Teron Armstead, and both of those jokers mow somebody down and open up a running lane? I don't get it. I don't get it. And it goes back to the whole, you want to shed this finesse label, you want to shed the, oh, we're tough guy, we want to be bullies. Like, no, you're soft. You're and there's no, like, as I wrote after the game, there's literally nothing you could say about these narratives that are out there about you, because you have verified that every single one of them is true. And 20 tackles, because nobody wanted to tackle anybody. It was too cold out there. Like, they're not going to publicly say it, but I went outside. I walked to my car. My fingers, I had gloves on. The little tips of my fingers, 5-minute walk, frozen. I didn't want to be out there. Imagine standing out there. They were huddled up on those heaters under those blankets. They are such a
oh, damn, it's coming.
We hate cold weather team. And I get it. Every team's got some teams have their advantages. And you come down to South Florida generally in September and October, and you're going to sweat to death. The heat is the humidity is just going to be on top of you, which factors in. Maybe the game is different if it was at home against Green Bay as opposed to on the road. But goodness gracious, let's not pretend like you don't struggle. Like, I'm at the point now where I think when they play a cold weather team, they got to go practice there for an entire week just to get acclimated with the cold.
Cleveland coming up.
Oh, God, I wouldn't want to spend a week in Cleveland. But
you're advocating for the team, not for you. There you go.
Yeah. It's like, don't do we're shirts off in the cold and we're gonna be tough guys and we got our warm skin lotion on. Like let's stop that, because you didn't want to tackle nobody. Either Terrell Dodson was really, really bad, and that could be a possibility. Yeah. Or you just and here's the thing: a lot of these linebackers come from cold weather environments.
He played 1 year in Seattle. He played for Buffalo for 4 years. Terrell Dodson. It's not because he's not used to the cold. But
Yeah. Jordan Poyer, like, what's your excuse?
His excuse is he's past his prime. He's a guy who brings. Remember what Tim Graham told us on the podcast?
Yes.
The Dolphins signed Jordan Poyer for his balls, basically. Because as a player, Jordan Poyer was a great safety once upon a time. That time has passed. And Tyrell Dodson, there's a reason the Seahawks waived him in the middle of the season while they were in the race for the NFC Northwest title, while he started every single game.
They traded both their inside linebackers. One of them includes traded Jerome Baker and waived Terrell Dodson. They were just looked at their linebacker crew and were like, yeah, this is trash. We got to do better. And they traded for a guy who replaced Dodson, and supposedly he didn't want to be a backup and asked for his release, supposedly. I don't know. But it is what it is, man. This is just
but again, I hate to be that guy who does this, but no, who am I kidding? I love being that guy who does this. Do you remember a guy who looks a little bit like me telling somebody who looks a little bit like you, maybe some point last year, that the Dolphins were a finesse team, and then somebody who looks an awful lot like you kind of pushing back on that narrative, or sorry, not narrative, on that statement, and think the old man with the Expos might have been onto something?
No, I just looked at it from the standpoint.
You can't even give me one of these. You can't give me one of these.
Yeah, I can give you one of these. It's not, the heart's not going to work though. But it when you have the second best rushing attack in the NFL, I find it hard to call you a
numbers. Sorry.
But then when you need to get it, you can't get it. And I get it. You were playing with backups at the end of the season, but now those backups are starters. Like, if you look at it from the standpoint, I just wrote a column that's going to be posted on Miami Herald Sunday for Monday. The entire trenches, all of it, needs to be redone. Like Zach Sealer, probably Aaron Brewer, maybe Austin Jackson, only saving pieces, only keeper pieces. Everything else has to get better because, and I love the fact that Teron Armstead's having an amazing season, a Pro Bowl season, but and his body is holding up. But can we consciously, knowing that his body is barely holding up and that he can't practice for the rest of the season, can we consciously go into another year with him making $14 million on the books? And I know they're probably going to shake him down, maybe get him to 8, maybe get him to 6. All right, can we consciously go into the season saying this is our starting left tackle? Or are we ready to graduate to Patrick Paul?
Who's not a sure thing.
No,
definitely not. Be a star, but he's not a sure thing.
Yeah, definitely not a sure thing. But every single piece of the trenches, and I know Dolphin fans are like, oh, Calais Campbell, he can. Let's hope to re-sign him and have him back here. Okay, that's great, but yes, baby, Calais couldn't play 30 snaps on a short week. Right. This is just a reality. He's not going to get any better at 39.
Correct.
And I'd love to have him back. But it's not realistic. It's just not realistic. And yeah, you're gonna have Bradley Chubb if you don't shake him down, and Jalen Phillips going to come back and hopefully he's healthy, and Chop Robinson, maybe he graduates and becomes better at stopping the run and setting edges, and maybe you have to redo your linebacker unit again. But I don't see this problem getting fixed anytime soon without a massive overhaul. Massive, not minor, massive.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily have a lot of resources to do that either. I mean,
yeah. It's like what is it, $4 million in cap space with everything that you need to get done.
I thought they're already over, actually.
Good question. Let me look. No, they're under 3.6, 3.7 million dollars under.
Okay, and
not that makes a difference. Yeah,
and they'll make moves to create more space.
Yeah.
Philosophically, their offense, to me, as long as the core is Mike McDaniel, Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, it's going to be a speed from this offense. I mean, I don't know that even Jonnu Smith. These are all.
I mean, he's kind of like the number 2 weapon now.
Sure. Although for those who keep poo-pooing what Tyreek Hill has done because of his numbers, as I wrote this, do not underestimate or completely overlook the fact that the attention opposing defenses give him spreads out the defense and opens up the underneath areas for Jonnu Smith.
Yeah. That's cute, but that's been his entire career except for his rookie season, and he still put up ridiculous numbers. Yeah. What happened this year?
Well, they're not throwing him the ball, and it's not. And certain times is he's not open because he's doubled, or certain times
maybe they should throw him the ball.
Sure. I advocated 3rd and 29. Why the hell are you running a straight handoff to Raheem Mostert? Chuck it deep. What's the worst?
I always say that, but
Jesus.
Try to get a PI. Those things still get called sometimes,
And even if it's a pick, chances are, unless the pass is so off the mark that it leads to a long return, if it's a long pick, chances are you're looking like at a 40-yard punt, 40-yard net punt, which is fine. At least take a shot. I mean, 3rd and 29, you're basically saying, that's like Dave wants. They
were playing for that though, and I agree with you that I thought I didn't like the play, but they were playing super deep because I thought to myself that was a great opportunity to chuck it, but they were right there on top of that on both.
They're going to be right there. That's fine, and you know that going in. You're not going to get a receiver open deep on a 3rd and 29. Yeah. It's like give him a 50-50 ball, and again, more than likely it's going to be incomplete, but you could have Tyreek outfights the guy for the ball, or you could have a DPI, or again, the two worst scenarios are an interception and the ball stays there, then that becomes a punt. The absolute worst, obviously, is a pick with a long return. But chances are, if it's a contested ball, Tyreek is there to make the tackle if it's picked off.
I agree.
Or Waddle on the other side. So, and then other things, and again, the damn special teams. But is it really Danny Crossman's fault and Malik Washington, when you can see he's fighting the punt the entire way, doesn't have the wherewithal to just, that ball's giving me trouble. Let me get the hell out of the way. Let it bounce. I mean,
Rookie. You put a rookie in that position.
I've never played in the NFL, and that immediately went to like, dude, get away from it. It's clear you're fighting it the whole. I mean, geez. And it's like, yeah, I get it. The adrenaline pumps in. He wants to make a play, and he does. But I mean, that's not on Danny Crossman, I don't think.
I thought they should have called a play for him. I know he's not really a primary player, but I thought they should have called a play for him to try to get him out of that funk.
They did. They did.
Yeah.
They did. They're the goal. Yeah, and they're on the first and goal from the 9. I think they threw him a swing pass that might have lost 5 yards or something like that, or no, gain 0. I think it was like, or one of those end arounds or one of those deals. It wasn't down the field.
Mm-hmm.
But, so the title of the episode is, can the Dolphins salvage the season? You see any shot right now, or you've given up?
No, they still got a shot.
Okay.
To me, it comes down to how you play. One, you can't afford no more losses. And I think the 49ers, I don't know what they're going to do in Buffalo. But that, can you imagine being the Dolphins and having Buffalo on the schedule and going up and playing in those conditions today? Woo! I'm so thankful that's not me. But it's a matter of taking care of business, and I just don't see this team. I think they're probably get a better chance of putting together a winning season than they do getting to 10 wins. I think that they will slip up at one point. Also, injuries factor into it, and in December, that's when bodies start hitting the canvas. And can you afford to lose 3 starters, which more than likely you're going to do in the last 5 games of the season? You're going to lose 3 starters. It's at least 3. And then how do those backups and replacement players play? And so to me, I think, unless they're the luckiest team in the NFL, I think they have absolutely no chance of making it to the playoffs. But, there's always a fighting chance. You never know what the 49ers are going to deal with injury. You never know when Houston.
They're going to pass to both teams.
Yeah. Hell, Cleveland is going to be no easy game. I think the one thing I'm not concerned about is the Jets. I think they've imploded on so many different fronts. I think they're probably just tanking the season at this point. Cleveland is clearly not tanking. Jameson's playing for his career and for his future contract, and I think he's a scary quarterback. So to me, it's going to come down to what you do against the 49ers and what you do against Houston. You can't afford to slip up. Now, the one thing I will say is I have more confidence that they could beat the 49ers than I do against Houston. So we'll know pretty much December 13th what the story is on this season.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is they're going to spank the Jets, and the offense is going to put up big numbers, and it's going to be like, oh, they're back. It was just a slip up against Green Bay, and they go next at Houston, and it's going to be like, this is the one. This is the one gets them over the hump on the road against a good team, because the weather's not going to be a factor in Houston. So here we go.
Yeah, and I mean, we know how these things play out.
Yeah, and this is where, for their defense, if they don't get pressure up the middle, which is Houston's big Achilles heel, their interior pass protection is completely brutal. CJ Stroud's going to carve him up.
Michael Dieter over there starting.
Michael Dieter is in Washington, I want to say.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Michael Dieter, the man of many teams.
Yes.
Just more evidence that Chris Greer cannot draft offensive linemen. Sorry. It's the truth.
Well, he drafted one, but then they became too pricey as a free agent. They had to let him leave. How much of a difference do you think Robert Hunt would make?
Larry Tunsil. Huh? Rob Jones?
Well, you can't complain
Robert Hunt?
Yeah, what difference would he have made this season if you were still on the team? Better than Liam Eichenberg at right guard.
Yeah, maybe they can run. But he didn't play half of last season. And then when he did play, he was hurt.
That's true.
I mean, I like Rob. Rob's a cool dude. 100 million player. Proud of him.
Yeah.
Get your money. 100 million player.
You're all about those guys getting their money.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thought. Any problem with what the Dolphins did with Shaq Barrett?
No, I don't know No, I know there's a need, but you can't abandon me and then show up at the last minute. Honey, I'm home.
Yeah.
Like if you even wanted to play for me, I don't really. They should not have found out through the media that you were coming out of retirement. That's not how they should have found out.
That's a bad look.
Yeah, bad look. From my standpoint, I'm like, yo, Shaq, pay me my $5 million signing bonus back, and I'll cut you, and you go about your business. But I guess we're delaying this for one off season. I don't know why, but yeah.
Well, they hold his contract rights for 2025. So
yeah, I mean, but
where you want to play again, you're going to play with us.
What good is that? What do you think you're going to trade him? It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But
in the offseason, maybe if he wants to come back, if he wants to come back next year, you don't think the Dolphins can swing like give us like a conditional 6 or a 7 for him?
And somebody has to take his contract? Nah. The guy hasn't played football in a year. Why would I pay him $7 million?
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but the contract is heavy on incentives.
Still got a $5 million signing bonus. I'm not paying him $4 million. He's got a $5 million signing bonus. I'm not paying him $4 total. Like, listen. There is no expiration date on grief. I cannot tell you how to deal with the loss of a child.
Right.
I cannot tell you how to take care of your family. If he didn't see fit to play football this season or leave his family to go play football this season because his family needed him, I 100% agree with you. But you shouldn't have signed here. And when you did, you made a conscious choice, and the team built the thing that they did, they built it around you. And then you said, even after the draft, you said on the week that we were beginning training camp, yeah, I'm not going to play. Like, and I get it. You have a right to do all of these things because you're dealing with grief and family comes first. But now, don't try to play football at the last minute. And supposedly rumors of you not wanting to even play for us.
Correct.
And don't tell us this the week we're playing Green Bay on Thursday.
Yep.
And let us find out from the media. Like,
put that very well, my friend, because it's like, again, for all of those I saw on social media, some who were on Barrett's side saying, he's dealing with like a personal tragedy and all that, and you make the point that's absolutely great, but the steps that he took, you still and the other bottom line is, guess what? The Dolphins, you want to do right by players as much as you can, but they also got to look out for the organization first and foremost, which is also what they did with Calais Campbell at the trade deadline, and it looked. They're still in the hunt. If they were, and that doesn't preclude them from at some point, if they get mathematically eliminated before the end of the season, they can still waive him, and hopefully he hooks up with a contender.
They better waive him. They better waive him, and that's the classy thing to do. Their whole team is looking at that. They're watching. Calais deserves the opportunity and the right to go play for a ring, which he feels is like the missing ingredient to his NFL career and Hall of Fame career. I think Calais is a first ballot Hall of Famer. If not a first ballot. You don't think he's a first ballot?
Ballot?
First ballot? Not first ballot?
I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I don't know about
a defensive tackle with 100 sacks.
Okay, how often would you say he's been a top 3 defensive? Well, again, it's tough because he's kind of a position.
He's been a good player for two decades.
Absolutely, he's been a great player. I don't know to me that he meets the criteria of a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I mean, they might put Eli Manning in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. So
Eli Manning to me is not even a Hall of Famer. Period. So
I don't disagree with you on that.
It's a complete joke. And if he doesn't play New York,
DeMarcus Ware wasn't a first ballot. I don't think he was. No, I don't think Ware was a first ballot. To me, first ballots are generational players. Now, can I say to you that Calais Campbell was a generational 3-4 end? I can actually say that. I can.
Here's the thing though. How often have you looked at his career, and you go, that guy's a game wrecker, as opposed to you look at his career and you're like, damn, that guy's good.
Okay, well, how often did you look at? Okay, let me think about this. How to put this?
I'm gonna throw something.
I find it very weird, unique, odd who becomes a first ballot Hall of Famer versus who doesn't, because Michael Strahan was not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but Jason Taylor was.
Shouldn't have been. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Yes, on the All Dolphins podcast, I'm going to say with all the due respect, and I know it's going to piss off a lot of people, including some of my friends who are former media relations people, maybe.
Yes.
No, I don't believe for a millisecond Jason Taylor should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Sorry.
I agree with you. When Michael Strahan is not, I'm not disagreeing with you. He should be a Hall of Famer. But we are talking about the first ballots are the premier generational players. Now, I could argue to you that Jason Taylor was a generational player.
I don't want to get into Jason Taylor counter argument because it's going to be a bad look, but it's like, look.
Name me who was better in his generation.
Look at his playoff performances.
Don't do that.
One thing,
Name who was better. Don't do that. It's a playoffs. He's a one man. He's one man. It's a whole team. Name me a better generational player,
dude. But you still have to put 0 sacks in 9 playoff games. Zero any turnover producing play. I understand.
A lot of attention going to
him. Sorry.
A lot of attention going to him.
Sure.
He's like Tyreek Hill. He opens up things for everybody else. See what I did there?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. No. To me, he was a very good impact player, first ballot. Sorry, no.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. And don't get me started because there's some very good defensive ends that are still waiting, and I'm like, wow. I mean, it's a hard ball club to get into, so I'm not gonna sit there. But hey, he did it, and we needed somebody. You think Richmond Webb gets in? Come on, man! Longest wait. If they're gonna let one offensive lineman in, there's nobody really more qualified than him.
Dude, you're asking me. I would say 47% chance.
Long wait now. Like,
sure.
if you're going to let one offensive lineman in, which I think they're going to let one receiver in, one offensive lineman in, I think they're going to let Eli in, even though Eli should really wait.
He shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. The guy had 2 good postseason runs the rest of his career.
And he's the only man ever to claim that to be able to say he beat Brady.
No, the Giants pass rush beat Brady.
The only quarterback that could ever say that he beat Brady. It's a Super Bowl when it counted. He's got a 500 record. I'm not a Eli Manning deserves to be in a Hall of Fame guy, but it's the Manning name. Come on.
And the fact he played in New York.
And yes,
let's look at ourselves. But
I think Michael Strahan paid the price for being mean to New York people. Okay. Whereas I think if you're good to the media, which Calais Campbell has been, bringing it back full circle, Calais Campbell has been good to the media his entire career. I'm pretty sure he'll go do media when he's done. I would make the argument for Calais. I want you in an NFL front office. And not only do I want you in an NFL front office, I want you in this front office. Like this one. right here. This one.
New GM in 2025? Is that what we're advocating?
If you did it, I would give you a thumbs up. And you know why I would give you a thumbs up? Because too many people running NFL front offices don't have a clue what a football player really looks like, and don't have a clue what it takes to build a team that is successful and sustainable. Calais does from this standpoint. He's been with the Ravens. He's been with the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals organization when he was there. I actually like their GM, even though he's been fired since. I liked how they built that team. Players know, and the fact that unfortunately players do not get the power and the influence to build organizations. And when they do get in organizations, the people who don't know, the people who are the accountants and the lawyers, they work very hard to keep the players in their lane. So I would like to see this organization be a team and an organization that is run by a player, a former player. If it's Zach Thomas, which I know he won't do, I'm sorry. I would fully ride on.
He won't do it. I'm not going to say it would be good, but he would do it.
I think Zach would do it if you asked him. I think he would. I think he would. If you asked him. You're like, not happening. Like
maybe his stance changed after he retired. It was like, I want to spend time with my family.
And he spent a decade with his family. Okay, and his kids are getting older. You know what it's like when you got older kids. They don't want nothing to do with you, Poupart. Like,
wow.
So
I should be over here right now just to prove you wrong.
They don't want anything to do with you.
No, they're not. They're ignoring me. So you're right.
So this is the time, man. This is the time. This is the owner. Let's do it.
But you don't actually think that's there's going to be a change, do you? You think Chris Greer is going to be gone after this season? Be honest.
I think we're going to ride it out for one more season and then see where that goes. And we're gonna max out another credit card. We're gonna get another credit limit, max out another credit card to build some foolishness, and then we'll be right back here in December and saying, "Oh, why is this team so soft? Why are they finesse? Why can't they beat good teams?" And we'll do it all over again.
And I think they might be looking at, especially if they finish like 9-8, be like, hey, Tua doesn't miss those 4 games.
Yeah, hey, Tua doesn't miss those 4 games. We're a different team. We're probably hosting a playoff game, and it's all good. Like, hey.
When the reality is, as of right now, it could change, but as of right now, they're 4-4 in the games that Tua start.
Yep.
So, and those 4 losses again are against
2 field goals. 2 last-second field goals.
Yeah, but those 4 losses are against the teams that have winning records.
You're right. You're right.
And we're back to the same thing. They're 0-5 in those games this year. 0-5. Yeah. Cannot beat teams with winning records. It's completely now it's 1-15 in their last 16 games against teams with winning records. Yeah. That's amazing. Somebody asked me, like in the mailbag on Miami Dolphins on SI.com. Please read the free content. If there's ever been sorry?
What you trying to say?
Absolutely. Read Omar's stuff at MiamiHerald.com. It's behind a paywall, but Omar's worth it. How's that, Omar? Am I good?
You're a bastard. But yes, I'm sure we're gonna have great Christmas offers to you. I'm sure we're gonna have great Christmas offers to you. Be here for the offseason.
That was a compliment. Yeah. Can we recall a team that was like this? That's absolutely cannot beat teams with winning records. 1-15. It's in their last 16. It's unfathomable.
Because you know what? When you got to play tough in the trenches, you can't. Bottom line.
Yeah. Well, then that speaks to a massive philosophical problem.
Which is what I wrote about in the Miami Herald, which is why you should read the Miami Herald.
There you go. At MiamiHerald.com.
I say that a lot. It's a massive philosophical issue that crosses every board, from personnel to strength and conditioning to coaching philosophy. It's everywhere. So
So
it's not gonna get fixed if we keep doing status quo. Not
correct. But in that vein, how do we look back on the decisions? I'm not even going to talk about the quarterback because you need a quarterback, but to extend Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who are kind of the embodiment of the philosophy of a track team type of offense as opposed to a physical type of offense.
I don't know. I can't. When you look back at what they did all off season, none of it makes sense right now.
Wow.
And that's just the reality of it.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great and depressing way of closing things out.
I supported all the decisions, by the way, but in hindsight, none of it makes sense. And unfortunately, Chris Greer can't run things in hindsight, and Steve Ross can't write checks in hindsight. But you know what you should do is you should reevaluate your leadership.
Such as
reevaluate your leadership. Is this leadership? If you know the leadership of your organization is not leading you anywhere.
Oh, but you're talking about organizational, not on the team.
Yeah. No, I don't have an issue with leadership on the team. Okay. But if your leadership of your organization is not leading you anywhere, why is he still your leadership?
Been a while too. And no, it's for those. There are a lot of people, fans who are like, want the dude fired. I'm talking about Jim Chris.
The one consistent thing about Steve Ross's tenure as a general manager, with the exception of Brian Flores, is that he always keeps things 1 year too long. And we know what they're going to do.
Yep.
Now, we also know what they should do, but we know what they're going to do.
No, I'll throw this one out there because some people have brought that up. Mike Vrabel is a head coach, and it's like Mike Vrabel is a hell of a head coach. He's also the embodiment of physicality and aggressiveness in terms of a style of play. And again, where does that lead you when your offense is all of your players on offense are skill, finesse, fast?
We're too far down the pipeline and I know Grabel's out there, and Grabel's a good coach, and there's going to probably be a bidding war. One, why did Tennessee get rid of him? And I didn't necessarily agree with that, even though I love Rand Carthon. But it is what it is. You know, I'm not ready to abandon Mike McDaniel. I'm not ready to abandon this philosophy. I think there's some alterations and some shifts that need to be made to address the physicality and the toughness that your team lacks. But you know how I felt about Derrick Henry. You think we'd have these issues if Derrick Henry was running back on this team? No, we wouldn't. But
Josh Jacobs would have helped.
Josh Jacobs absolutely would have helped.
Chris Brooks would have helped. Why the hell did they let go Chris Brooks? Why?
Yeah. Why he nearly outrushed the Dolphins on his own single-handedly. You're right.
No offense, because I like Jeff Wilson. He's a good dude, and he's a good, solid veteran. He's inactive practically every week. He was active against the Packers.
Might got to be inactive every week.
Played one snap on offense. You're not using the guy. Why wouldn't you not keep a young guy who brings you something you don't have in the running back core with a lot of upside? Makes zero sense.
Very well put. In hindsight, another philosophical. I was on the fence. I don't know how to feel about that Chris Brooks, Jeff. Wasn't he injured too at the point when he got waived? Chris Brooks?
He was, but now he's healthy. And
yeah,
as Bill Huber, the Green Bay Packers on that side publisher, told me, he's like literally the phrase he used, and you'll love this because you like that part of a running back's job, called him a wall in pass pro. He's their third down back because nobody gets by him when they blitz. So.
I didn't know that about his game.
How about that?
Yeah, how about that?
How about that? On that note, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks, as always, to Omar. Omar, thanks, buddy. Much appreciated. Right, happy holidays. We'll see you out on the battlefield sometime next week when the Dolphins start getting ready for the mighty New York Jets. Everyone, please like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. Read my free content on Miami Dolphins on SI.com. Read Omar's stuff.
We got a good promotion for you, like 99 cents.
And it's worth it anyway. MiamiHerald.com.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, brother.
All righty, senor.